Good advice there. Now to shed more light on the subject, we are joined by a local man who is what he calls a reformed white nationalist.
After immersing himself in years of hateful ideology, he's now spreading a message of love and togetherness. Arno Michaelis is, I didn't get that right. Arno Michaelis, there we go, is joining us live this afternoon. I know you have an important topic to talk about, so I want to make sure I get your name.
Arno, you have a book too. You've written on this topic. Talk about tell us first about your path.
My book's called My Life After Hate, and it's really about the mistakes I made that led to my involvement in white power hate groups, and probably more importantly, how I was led out by people who I claim to hate, who had the courage to not reflect my hostility and instead set an example of how human beings should treat each other.
So, Arno, you use the term, you made mistakes. Did you see those mistakes, or did someone point those out and bring you out of it?
That's a great point. Looking back, it's easy to see, yeah, I made all these mistakes. At the time, as an angry kid who was came from an alcoholic household, had been getting in fights since he was little, it was, to me, when you're in the midst of that, you don't really realize that you're making those mistakes.
So how did you, how does someone get involved in that? I mean, did someone reach out to you? Did you just research online? How do you? I
was already a pretty angry, violent punker, and then I heard white power skinhead music, which is like the same kind of music, but then with these, interestingly, music about blood and soil and all these same tropes that were being chanted in Charlottesville. And as an angry kid who didn't want to take responsibility for his anger and what was going wrong in his life, it was way easier to start blaming everybody else, and that's what happened.
So if someone's watching today and says, boy, I know someone who's just in your shoes that was like you at one time, what would you say to them to try to get that person out that they care about, to get, as you call it, get them out of the movement?
I would say, what I tell people who are in the movement now is that I've lived their life. They haven't lived mine. Today I work in counterviolent extremism. I work in Milwaukee in a group called Serve to Unite. We do service learning, global engagement, the arts. I travel the world working with amazingly diverse people, and I'm not afraid. I'm happy and welcomed wherever I go. I'm joyful and grateful. And it's just a much nicer way to live your life than being terrified of everyone else on earth.
How challenging, you said you got out of the movement in 1994, looking where the internet is today, social media is today, is it hard to go up against this given what's out there in social media?
Technology is an amplifier. Fire can heat your house or it can burn it down. And social media really does silo ideologies, so you can just kind of get in this echo chamber where you're only hearing what you want to hear. But we can use that in a constructive way as well, and broadcast a message of peace in the same venue.
Arno Michaelis, thank you very much for coming here and sharing your story.
Thank you, Bill.